The tale of the tape, a story of two markets. I'd like to share a story with you today about two towns. We'll call them Prosperity Heights and Valueville. They exist right next to each other, separated only by a river and a completely different state of mind. In Prosperity Heights, the sun always seems to shine. The streets are paved with optimism. Every business on Main Street is bustling, and everyone you meet will tell you why their town is destined for endless growth. People speak of new technologies, brilliant leadership, and a future without clouds. Now, when you ask about buying a piece of this town, say a local business or a home, you'll find the price reflects this boundless enthusiasm. The cost of a business is very high compared to its current earnings. If you smooth out those earnings over a full decade to account for both good years and bad, the price remains at a level we've seldom seen in history. And the total price tag for the entire town, when set against everything the town produces in a year, is at a towering height. You are, without question, paying a premium for the promise of tomorrow. Now, let's cross the bridge to Valueville. The atmosphere here is different. The headlines speak of challenges. Some old factories have struggled. People are worried about the future, and this worry is etched into the price of everything. The cost of a solid business here is quite low relative to the cash it generates. That same business, valued against its average earnings over 10 years, looks remarkably reasonable. And the total price for the entire town is a modest fraction of its annual output. In Valueville, you are not paying for a glorious imagined future. You're paying for the tangible, productive assets that exist today. So, we have two towns. One is priced for perfection. The other is priced for stagnation, or perhaps even decline. He pauses, taking a sip of his Coke, letting the contrast sink in. Now, here is where many intelligent people get tripped up. They look at these facts and assume the story is over. They believe that because Prosperity Heights is expensive, its decline must be imminent, or because Valueville is cheap, its rise is guaranteed. But the market doesn't work on a schedule. Prosperity Heights could continue to prosper for years. Its high prices could be justified by even greater growth that nobody yet sees. The enthusiasm could be warranted. Conversely, Valueville's troubles could deepen. Its cheap assets could become cheaper still. The tools we use, whether it's looking at price to earnings, a 10-year smoothed earnings ratio, or the total market value against the economic output, are not crystal balls. They are scales. Their purpose is not to tell you what will happen, but to tell you what you are getting for your dollar. They measure the fundamental relationship between price and value. When you invest in Prosperity Heights, you are making a bet on the future being so bright that it will eventually grow into its current high price. You are buying a magnificent business, but you are paying a magnificent price. The margin for error is thin. When you invest in Valueville, you are making a bet that the current troubles are temporary, or that the fear is overblown. You are buying a good business at a fair price. The margin of safety is wider. You are protected by the discount you received at the time of purchase. The history of markets is the history of the pendulum swinging between these two towns. There are long periods where the crowd rushes to Prosperity Heights, convinced it is the only place to be. And there are other periods, often after a storm, when they rediscover the sturdy, underpriced assets in Valueville. The educated investor understands this pendulum. They don't try to predict its every swing, but they understand its rhythm. They know that over the long term, the price you pay determines your return. Buying wonderful assets at fair prices is better than buying wonderful assets at wonderful prices. So, the next time you look at your investments, I would encourage you to ask a simple question. Does my capital reside mostly in Prosperity Heights, or do I have a thoughtful allocation to Valueville? Understanding the difference between the two and the fundamental measures that distinguish them isn't about giving advice. It's about understanding the nature of the game itself. It's about knowing that while Prosperity Heights is where everyone wants to be, Valueville is often where long-term wealth is built.